Yeah, welcome to episode 5. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to have these two right here from our community. Today we're going to talk about, bridging the gap between, the police and our civilians in our community. How can they better help serve us, and how can we also aid them in a sense? We have Moody here and we have Petey here. They're both two guys from Roselle, and they're both police in our community. Their dynamic is different in our community, whereas though they grew up in our community. They have a certain type of warm heart towards our community. What I first want to talk about is, what made you guys want to become, police officers, law enforcement?
Well, I always wanted to be a cop. Something that was just always on my mind. Didn't want to go to school for criminal justice because I knew if I went to school for something else, I went to school for exercise science, but I knew you didn't need a criminal justice degree to be a cop. Yeah. So I always wanted, get a degree in something else. So if I do ever come back to be in law enforcement, my degree could always help me out, life after retirement. And, once I got out of high school, I've just been applying everywhere and taking tests to be, fireman, cop, just something to think about life after retirement, because everybody know, it's one of the best pensions you can do in a career, so just something that was just always on my mind, and the opportunity came, and I just ran with it.
I think for me, like I said, he said, I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to be a cop. I actually went to school for criminal justice. My mindset was, never really thought I'd be working for Roselle, but I just took the test and see, what options I had available. I started off in corrections, so I started off in a prison, and it kind of, I would say, it developed me to work on the street. Didn't really think I was going to have the opportunity to work for my city, for my town. But it was something I always wanted to do, but just never knew where I would end up being.
100%. So, let's talk about the process of becoming a police officer. The mindset you have to have going through whatever you guys go through, the process. I'm not very familiar with it. I looked at it briefly of the process, but, how was you guys processing becoming a police officer, the type of training and things that you need?
I would say that it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrifice from your family. There's a lot of sacrifice that you have to be different. Everybody's not built for it. You got to be different. You got to have a different mindset because, especially us being minorities, you don't get that a lot. I think even when the academy said it, you have to be mentally tough because, truth be told, they don't think that you can. You'll be able to succeed there to go forward. But you gotta have that mental toughness. So it can be tough. The process can be tough. But like I said, you know me. You know how I'm mentally tough. I know Petey mentally tough. And you gotta have that. If you're not mentally tough, this job is not for you. Because you see stuff every day.
Okay.
You see stuff every day. And that process, you just gotta be able to make a sacrifice for yourself, for your family. And just to be able to, keep your eyes on the prize and what's in front of you.
I'm interested in more so the training as far as from a mental capacity and, how do you deal with civilians, like the communication side or whatever the case may be, because you could take all the tests and things like that, but how do you train one, or how do they try to make sure you guys are inept, or how inept of being able to handle civilians, whether it's in a hostile situation, or communicate effectively to diffuse any situation as well?
Well, at work, most of the people I work with play sports.
Yeah.
So you always dealing with different type of people.
Yeah.
Just because of sports alone. When you play sports, you're always playing against different teams from different communities, and the camaraderie of people yelling in your face, being down by 15 or up by 15, you just learn how to deal with, that pressure, and you gotta learn how to stay composed with just dealing with different type of people. That's why, with, law enforcement, you see a lot of people play sports, because a lot of people just come from different type of backgrounds on either it don't matter what sport you play, just people just come from different type of backgrounds and just, deal with the community, usually at work, something with me, I stay locked in. I understand where people are coming from, but sometimes people always got a view of just quick to attack and never want to listen. So that's the problem we have now. People never want to listen. They just ready to bark for no reason. So just dealing with people, you just learn how to talk to different type of people. Just having regular conversation, old, young, just being in the community and just talking to people.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure you guys take that approach, but how do they emphasize on that? So people obviously have a stigma about police or a complex and things like that. Everybody's prejudged of how they see police. How do you guys try to portray yourself to be viewed differently, or how are they emphasizing you guys to be able to talk to people or be able to portray yourself differently? Like, what's the conversation like with that?
Well, with me personally, like with my friends and all that, the thing that messes a lot of things up is social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I have conversations with my friends, they'd be like, police this and that. So I'd be like, all right, so I'm part of them. They'd be like, no, not you. What you mean not me? When I pull over somebody or interact with somebody, they don't know who I am. I'm the nicest man in the world. I talk to people, but the social media aspect and the view that people have on law enforcement, they quick to attack, and it's so crazy because you be like, I just want to talk to you. What's the problem? But people don't understand that, and when I break it down to my friends, like they're like, oh, you can't when you talk about law enforcement, you can't always say, oh, not you, PD, not you. But what you mean, not me? Because that next officer could be a cool cop too. But you guys are so busy attacking him, you didn't even get a chance to interact because you're so busy attacking. Moody could be pulling you over, but you're gonna be like, oh, he's not like Petey, but you don't even know who Moody is. Mm-hmm. You can't just people look at social media and just so one-sided to situations that they don't never see the other side. You know what I mean? So it's just something just everybody got to come to some type of agreement and listen and learn.
I mean, I have a couple solutions as far as like bridging the gap, but I kind of want to hear you guys first. Like, how do you think that we can like bridge that gap as far as within the community and the kind of diffusing the situation and letting people be able to know you guys like personally?
Well, this is just me. This is my personality. This is what I do. When I'm working, I usually get out the car a lot. I get out the car, I talk to people. It's a different era that we live in. A lot of these young kids that now I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I talk to them. Figure out who they are.
Yeah.
Figure out what they're doing, what they're about. And it's different for me because a lot of people know who I am. And my group that I grow is older now. So most of them trying to find jobs and trying to do the right thing. But you have this new generation that, some of them may know me from sports, but I don't know them. Yeah. Because they were young, but they grew up watching us. But this generation that, that's coming up now, I don't really know them. So I get out the car, I talk to them, I walk around and try to introduce myself, talk a little trash. I see them with a basketball. Talk a little trash, you ain't got no handle, just talk, and see how they respond. And I think, as officers, it's important that you gotta interact with the community. Mm-hmm. You gotta get out your car. They gotta know who you are. The businesses gotta know who you are. Go inside the store, talk to them. See what they need. Let them know if they need you. Just give us a call. And that's the main thing. That's how I bridge the gap in my community. I get out the car, I talk, I communicate with people. But I think, like PD said, is that instance where you get a phone call, you arrive on the scene, and you're trying to do your job, and you're trying to figure things out before you even get there. They're barking. Let me figure out what's going on first before you think that I'm against you. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that like he said, the social media aspect puts so much of a negative impact on our world today. We can't have a basic conversation with people without trying to figure out what's going on first. And I think bridging the gap is important, but you got people, and you gotta be honest. Some people don't want to bridge the gap. Some people just like, yo, I hate police, and it's just that. It may be something they dealt with in the past. An officer said something to them, did something to them, whatever. They just have that personality where they say, no matter what, the police could be nice to me, whatever, I don't care. You know, so, and we gotta, our mindset, we gotta take that and say, you know what I mean, how do we approach this? Do we go with the mindset of saying, okay, I'm gonna still keep my composure, or them have them say something and then take us off and say, you know what, forget it. You get what I'm saying? So we're humans at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, that's why I always ask, like, how are they preparing you for these moments? Because you guys are humans and are going to deal with different stuff, just like authority. Like, anytime somebody has authority, like your parents, their job is to teach you, or whatever the case may be. You guys are coming to the situation as the authority figure. So you guys should be, you know, more so like, I have the authority here, I can teach you, or whatever the case may be. And my question is, are they, you know, you doing that because you love the community that you work in?
That's just me, period.
Yeah. but you still got, you still have a love. Like, I want to know my community. Is there mandatory community service hours for the community that you work in? Like, mandatory, like, you got to do a certain amount of hours before you work here, or when you do work here, these hours need to be done. I think that, and that's a solution for me. If you make, so happy these cops don't live in Roselle. Or whatever, Roselle Park, or whatever the case may be. These towns that they're going into and they killing black people, whatever the case may be, half of them don't live there. You never have any other interaction with them prior to you interacting with them that day. So if you're at the basketball games, if you're coming to like the giveaway drives, or you going like Officer Brennan, he used to do the dare with us. I had an interaction with him my senior year. The dynamic, I was acting hostile, but the dynamic was so different because he knew me. I was just in a hostile situation, acting hostile. Not that I'm a hostile child, but the fact that he was in our school, we was able to negate a lot of the stuff that could have transpired. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So my solution is put these people in the community, and you're gonna be able to tell by you mandating hours to be in the community. You're gonna be able to tell the people who want to be in that community, who likes the people in that community. You know what I'm saying? The officer, it's 60 to 80% white people in the law enforcement in Roselle. It's a 70% black community. You know what I'm saying? So the people that live, if you don't live there, you're not gonna get to know these kids. If you don't know these kids, your interaction's not gonna. Chances are it's not gonna be that great. You know, I work in customer service. It takes me 6 months for my. It takes, you know, on average, the statistics show it takes 6 months for us to even build that rapport, to have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And me doing my job, I kind of figured that out too, because I've been delivering to somebody for so long. On the 6th month, you tell me, yo, anything in here is yours, da-da-da, you need to use the bathroom, you want some coffee. You know, I've been delivering you for 6 months, once a week. You know what I'm saying? You add that up, that's 24 times. I done seen you 24 times. Yeah. And for us to be here and go to this first interaction, and you haven't been in my community, that's kind of on. I feel like that's a part that the police can play too as well.
Just to piggyback off, we're at Roselle now, because we have a lot of minorities. Yeah. We don't, you know, I see you said the percentage. Now it's a lot of minorities, so you really find an officer or whatever. But so from that standpoint, what we try to do, and what's mandatory for us to do, is what we call parking laws. We gotta get out the car. Like I said before, we gotta get the car and we gotta talk to people. It's mandatory that we do that. Mm-hmm. And you know, our chief, he makes sure that, you know, we do the right thing. And you know, whether they do it or not, that's on them. We can't speak for everybody. Yeah. Everybody has their own personal lifestyle. Everybody has their own thoughts. Even as officers, people have their own thoughts, and they don't have their own opinions. So, for us to try to figure out, well, what Petey thinking today? Petey may had a bad day. Not saying that he shouldn't take it out on anybody, but you know what I'm saying. So you gotta understand that we're human, and that we still have to do a job at the end of the day. And when you talk about bridging the gap, and you're saying people don't really live in the community, and I get it, you know, like in Roselle, you have to live in Roselle to get hired. That's protocol. Before you do anything, you have to. I mean, you got probably a couple of people that may transfer, but that was back in the day. Now you have to live in Roselle. You know, either you with the Roselle Catholic or whatever, you have to live in Roselle to be hired by Roselle. Mm-hmm. So that's their main goal.
That's good.
To hire somebody from Roselle. That's out. Nobody that you see, you know, instead of probably back in the day. Yeah. Everybody's from Roselle. You may not have seen them. Yeah. You know, because they probably went to a Catholic school, or they even lived in Roselle, or probably went to a St. Mary's or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they lived in Roselle.
That's good.
So that's the main thing. When you're hired in Roselle, you have to live in Roselle. You can't just, you know, live somewhere else and expect to come into the community. That's one of our things that we do. So
That's good.
Is that like department wide? Like does
that's
it
for
go-
us. That's Roselle.
That's
I
just
can't
Roselle.
speak about other
Okay.
people. I know for Roselle, you have to live in Roselle.
Okay.
You can't be from a different unless you transfer in. But we rarely transfer people in.
Nah, that's good.
What do you think the reaction will be from like people in your department, right? Because we only can speak department like specific. What do you think for like a mandatory community service? How do you think that
That's
some
good.
of the
I think. Listen, I'm a community guy. I'm from here.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's you. I'm just saying.
You gotta ask somebody that's that's not really,
Sure.
community oriented. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think it's a great idea. I think that's needed.
Yeah.
You say, oh, you want to go out there and do it? Yeah, why not? I work a basketball game. I do it for free. Why? Because it's my community.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But somebody else been going, I don't know. I don't know everybody else's mindset.
Yeah.
But do people think like that? Absolutely.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. But I think that it's important. I think, community policing, bridging the gap, it's important. It's important in the community because now, you build that trust. You build that trust. And I think that's big.
And you guys deal with a lot of high pressure situations. Another one of my solutions was more so like, getting like consulting, maybe, once or twice a year with a therapist or whatever to check in on you guys' temperature. Because some people might let stuff build up over time or things that's going on that they really can't control. And that could kind of like help too because like you said, you guys are human. What are your guys' thought on that as far as like, talking to somebody maybe once every few months just to check in on you guys and see how you guys doing? Dealing with the high pressure situations that you guys may have to face.
Yeah, well, work. They always ask us, if anybody's going through, any, issues or got anything on their mind.
But we men though.
Yeah,
it's hard for us to.
Yeah,
we men. Like it's hard for us to like.
Everybody know the job is tough, dealing with family, work, and all that with the kids, and just time management. It's always offered like, do anybody need to talk to somebody? And they always give people personal time, to take days off, just cause at the end of the day, you work in a stressful job in a stressful environment.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gotta go home and deal with family and kids and all that. So that's always an option. They always, ask people, do they ever need somebody to talk to? Sometimes people be like, you know what, I need a couple of days off, and they grant that. That's never a problem because the superiors know that it is a stressful environment, stressful situation. So you can take stress leave. You can take a couple of days off if you need that. Then you're not gonna get in trouble or anything. You just need a couple of days off. So they always give us options like that all the time.
That's dope. I think that's dope. And I know you mentioned earlier as far as like, people like that. We focus on, we target hiring athletes or whatever the case may be. So we do have like that team oriented, mindset. With that being said, how are we holding each other accountable? Because to achieve the common goal, the common goal for us is to have peace, right? So that should be our common goal. That should be, the officer's common goal and the community common goal, or whatever the case may be. So, when excessive force, are you guys one to hold your counterparts accountable? So is it blue first or community first? And a lot of times, from my research, a lot of people try to protect, their officers, of course, but are we holding each other as a team accountable, for anything that's excessive, that's out of line, and things like that?
Well, if it's excessive force, you will be held accountable for that. Because at the end of the day, it's cameras.
Yeah.
Everybody has body cameras, so at the end of the day, you have superiors that look over everything that you do, and every time you do a use of force or excessive force, that has to get documented.
After every situation, we have a conversation. So we say, well, yeah, maybe we could have did that better, but you never know. If I was in that situation, how I would react.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So you never want to, Monday quarterback somebody, but we talk about it. Well, we could have did this. We could have did that a little bit better. So next time, because it may be a situation that I dealt with that you didn't deal with. Mm-hmm. And you'll talk to me like, well, how did you deal with that situation?
Yeah.
So we talk about it. You know what I mean? Or you should have never did that. You should have did. You know, we communicate, and I think that's important on every municipal level, whatever, state trooper or whatever. You communicate with each other, and that's the biggest thing. What we do, we try to talk to one another, even at the stressful points. We talk to one another. Yo, you need help? You good? You know, we talk to each other about our problems, and I think that's the main thing that kind of keeps us going. You know?
Yeah. So how are we like? So, what is you guys take on like things that are not getting? You know, we're clearly seeing, you know, a pattern, you know, of people like looking at like us getting killed, one, and stuff just getting acquitted. Like we recently had a case as far as in Carteret where we obviously seen on the dashboard cam that the guy was beating the kid who was a 16 at the time, he's 18 now, but at 16 at the time, 2 years ago, and that his brother is the mayor, But that was acquitted. Like, we clearly can see that he was beating this kid on the ground. And we clearly heard audio of his counterparts talking about, like, yo, he was wilding. Or whatever the case may be. Like, how are things like that, since we have all these systems in place, how are things like that slipping through the cracks?
Well, I'm not no judge, I'm not no lawyer, so I don't know the situation you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know the situation, but like I haven't dealt yet with situations that slip through the cracks, because at my job, like, nothing slipped through the cracks. Everything is out there.
Yeah.
Everything is public records, like I said before, and you know, I done seen a lot of people get in trouble for everything you do. Like, we hold zero tolerance to anything. So you do something that you ain't supposed to be doing, you're losing your job straight up, or you might end up getting arrested, and you might get charged criminally. So they hold us accountable for any little thing we do wrong.
So it's like state police, like, kind of held to a higher standard than like.
No, it's just.
You know, I think everything's a process. You know, you have to look at it from all angles. You have to look at it from the beginning to the end. And like I said, I'm not taking sides for anybody, but it's a process that you have to follow.
Yeah.
As far as, okay, you look at that one clip of what's going on, and you see that, but what happened before that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was 16. He was driving his dad's car without license. He crashed the car. You know, he crashed the car. He got out the car. The officer didn't turn his body cam on, or whatever the case may be. But when the other officers pulled up, they had their front camera on, and he was beating the kid up. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened.
That's
you know,
what I'm saying.
we don't know what happened, but if a kid on the ground, he's 16.
But we don't know what happened. Right.
Did they find cameras from different areas?
Yeah, we
look
don't
at
know.
the situation before it transpired. That's the point I'm trying to get to. That's why I say I don't want to take no sides, because we don't know. It's a process that led up to that, and then when they investigate that, they do their investigation. They don't let us know. They do their own private investigation, and they figure out what led to that point. You get what I mean? So in Roselle, that's the way we kind of do things. We kind of look at the process, we process it, we look at it, and we see what's going on, and then if it leads up to whatever it leads up to, then you know, we have to go with that.
Yeah, and we all know, like, every department's not the same, right? Cultures are different in different places. You know, you go to some departments in Alabama, the culture might be different, right? You go to Roselle, New Jersey State Troopers, these departments are different. But like, just civilian facing, right? We feel like, you know, and this is what he's talking about in terms of things slipping through the cracks. We kind of feel like it's a them versus us kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Because you said that, you know, it's a team dynamic, right? A lot of people are athletes and they have this team dynamic, and it's like, yo, we got to protect the team.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, when one officer does something that maybe he shouldn't have done, it may reflect badly on the entire department. So the department is then, to civilians, is incentivized to help that, you know, officer out, right? Whatever, maybe looking the other way, maybe not cooperating with what they need to. So, you know, what do you think are some things that we can do to bridge the gap? Because we all want the same thing, right? You here to protect and serve, right? We want to keep the peace. We don't want to be killed on the streets, right? Like, what do you think are like some things that we can do to bridge the gap from a department perspective?
I think the main thing is, I think we gotta, the community that we're dealing with have to first listen. Listen before we talk. That's the main thing. If we tell you, listen, turn the car off. Just turn the car off. You ain't gotta keep going back and forth. For what? You know what I mean? Now, as you escalate the situation, you think we're just gonna stand there and watch it, just yell at us, and now everybody watching? Oh, look.
Yeah,
Look at the officer.
it's a heated situation.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the
It's
officer
heated,
doing nothing. You know, it's like we don't do nothing, we're being bashed. If we do something, we're being bashed.
Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things. Is like, if just listen. If somebody say turn the power off, if somebody say put your hands on the dash, just do it.
And the thing is, we got hired to be authority.
Sure.
So if you don't want to listen to us on a regular car stop, don't call us for help then when you really need us for help.
Right.
Because now when you're in a dangerous situation, the first thing you want to do is call 911 and say, hey, we need you here, help. But on a simple, when we pull y'all, why I'm getting pulled? No, I'm here. I got hired as authority. I took an oath. So my oath is to protect you and to protect others. So if I sit here and pull you over and say, license and registration, and you giving me, I don't know who you are. I'm pulling you over to the reason I'm asking for your license and registration is for you to identify yourself. I don't know nothing about you.
True.
I'm walking up to a random person I don't know nothing about. So first of all, by you giving me attitude and all that, you're not doing nothing wrong. So what's the problem you giving me your license and registration for?
Yeah.
I've been pulled over a lot. I have all my documents ready. We're in 2019. If you don't have an ID, that's a problem. How don't you have an ID in it's 2019?
So
you
your recommendation is like
you
just
have to
make
listen.
Sure, yeah, you gotta comply and
just listen. That's all. Listen, we don't. I can't speak for everybody.
Yeah.
We don't want no problems. You get what I'm saying? Like we don't want issues.
we all want the same thing.
But
make it home.
that's the goal for us.
Everybody
Make it
has
home.
We wanna
family.
make it
Everybody has
exactly.
kids.
Yeah.
But
You know, I think when I think about these things, right? I think so. I try to I think a good quality is to try to put yourself in other people's shoes, right? So like what I said earlier was like, yo, I don't know my boy Joe, who's an officer. He may have had a bad day. I don't know why he did that, right? But like, you don't know what that person was going through. Maybe they just went through a breakup and now they irate and upset,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
But that's what you talk.
Yeah,
That's what you
but
talk.
my thought process is, with great power comes great responsibility, right? And, to me as a civilian, as a black man, right? As a husband, as a son, the way I think about it is like, yo, we humans too, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get upset. Sometimes, and we look at these videos on Instagram or wherever sometimes they be ridiculous requests. People be trying to flex their power, but our perspective is like, yo, y'all walk around with a license to kill, and I'm not talking about y'all. We know y'all. We went to high school together, right? We know y'all not bad dudes. Y'all never did nothing crazy that I could think of. But like, police officers, and essentially walk around with a license to kill, right? We see a lot of people get shot and killed, right? And a lot of times we see that it's not warranted, right? And then y'all live y'all married lives, right? And not, when I say y'all, I don't mean y'all specifically, but like officers in general live their married lives, go about their day, but that person it's over because they didn't, and it seems like they didn't submit to y'all. I'm not, let me rephrase that, my apologies. They didn't submit to the officer, right? Yo, and maybe the officer came off aggressive too. I've seen videos where I'm like, yo, the officer's wilding, the person's wilding, this don't make sense, but it's tough, and I think conversations like this is healthy.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the videos that officers walk up to a car and get shot?
I don't think I've ever seen one of those.
I
don't think I've ever seen.
It's videos.
And I'm sure, and I'm sure,
it's videos that people wait for the officer to walk up to the car.
When you in Weekway and you in certain parts of Newark, I know I would be scared, right?
It's videos that officer pull just walking into just a regular car stop and the person handgun rape just ready. As soon as they walk up, start shooting. And I done seen multiple videos like that.
And I think that's because that's what y'all pay.
But that's the
because I've never seen that.
I've seen that one time.
I've seen a lot of videos like that.
And I think the media manipulating both sides.
I actually have a question, if you don't mind. How do you guys determine, or do you guys determine at the time of the stop, not your aggression level, but like
the threat level?
you deduce the situation and you're like, all right, this license plate, you might have looked it up and it came back, license, whatever, registration. So you're like, all right, this is going to be one of those situations that I don't know what's there. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like when you pull over like a granny just because she did it right.
So how do you assess the situation?
Well, when I could pull over a 17-year-old or I could pull over a 90-year-old grandma, I'm coming with the same mindset every time.
Yeah.
I'm
And
locked in every time. I don't discriminate. You can be 80, 90, you can be 10 years old. I'm coming the exact same way every time. And just like I said, license registration, you hand me your documents. Now, if you're doing too much scrambling, what you scrambling for? Your documents should either be in your wallet or in your glove box.
Yeah.
If you're doing too much
They're
scrambling,
nervous because they're...
okay, but you talk to them, license registration, what you shaking them out. And I talk to them, what's the problem? Oh, I'm a little nervous. You don't have nothing to be worried about. You know what I mean? Let me just get your license registration. What you got going on? At the end of the day, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you still have the advantage. Because one, I'm walking up to your car.
You know what you got.
I don't know what you got going on. You're preparing yourself the whole time. You already won.
And I think that's and that's that mentality, right? That's logical because you guys are being trained, from what I'm hearing, with a war mentality, right? You're going into this situation from a combat perspective. You're like, yo, this person can have anything in this car. I need to be ready to protect myself because I got to make it home. That's what it sounds. That's what it sounded like, at least to me, right? And us, we ain't thinking about all that. We like, damn, we just got pulled over. We trying to go do whatever we trying to do. But we got all of these at least me, when I got all of these things playing in my head, like, damn, like what's going on?
Yeah, but
and that makes me nervous.
And
it's like, I think it's just, it's like a relationship with just bad communication.
Yeah, but the thing is, just listen.
So what are some things, I know, just listen. Sometimes that's not enough because, like, if I'm upset, we human just like y'all human.
All right, but the thing is,
what are some practical things that we can do? Like, and this is what I think about too. Like, let's say I'm driving home and it's late, and I got tints in my car. I'm a black guy or whatever. I'll roll all my windows down.
As you should.
I'll turn my lights on because I want to make sure y'all can see.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And that's helping us.
Everybody not prepared for that.
But
so what are
don't
some
do that.
things what are some things that we can do as civilians, right? To
diffuse the situation.
Disarm you guys. To not disarm you guys in a negative way, but like
disarm you guys.
Make you as comfortable as possible, because I think the world, black people need to see this. They need to hear this. We need to know.
On this job, you never can get comfortable. It's just the way we're taught. And you can't get.
But that's not
healthy.
That's not healthy for us.
What can we do to help?
Just,
at least
the thing is just listen. Because at the end of the day, we have about 3 or 4 cameras on us. Just listen. If we pull you over, you did something wrong. Like before I became a cop, I only got pulled over like 2 times my whole life because I never did nothing wrong.
Police officer goes up?
Nah.
Alright.
So like my thing is, people don't have excuse because I've been driving my whole life and I never got pulled over. So at the end, when you get pulled over, you did something wrong. You did a violation.
Yeah.
It's no excuse. You did something wrong.
So I'm Spanish. I've been pulled over here in Roosevelt Park in high school, and I asked the officer. It was like 11:30 at night. I was coming home. I was getting out of the park when it was a Roosevelt Park cop, and I asked him, "How can I ask you why you pulled me over?" It's like, "Oh, I kind of seemed like I felt like you wanted me to pull you over," and that was his excuse.
I don't know about that.
So we know that you guys are human, and they ain't always good people, right? They're always good police officers. They're always good civilians.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's a tough situation because we don't walk around with it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
It's tough. So I'm just trying to think of things. So like he asked you before, like, what are some things that the department can do? Because I know, like, so I used to work for the casino, and we used to have like to take specialized continued education and specialized training, because I dealt with, it's a casino. People is losing their livelihoods in there, right? So, not to say that I was ever like threatened. My life was, I'm not comparing it, but like we have Richardson resolution training. You guys go through Richardson?
No, I don't know.
So there's Richardson resolution training. It just teaches you how to like diffuse people, right? So like we had to take these trainings because, like, yo, think about it. I just lost $10,000. My wife gonna be pissed, right? I'm just trying to get a drink, and you telling me no. Right? Like, you telling me I can't get no free drink, I can't get no nothing. You basically telling me I gotta leave, right? So we had to take certain training to diffuse that person, because that person oftentimes we'll see it in the industry, like they'll swing on you, they be wilding because of all of this shit that's going on, right? So we had to take continued education, we had to take training to learn how to diffuse people nicely. I'm sorry, sir, I understand that I understand this happened to you, this is really bad. Here's a number to this program, here's this, be as helpful as possible. Because to be honest, I was in a position of power, essentially, in that casino, because I could, discretionally, I could give him anything he wanted.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, I was still in a position of servitude, too, though. You know?
Okay.
And I feel like, you know, police, you know, y'all in a position of servitude. You hear, you know, if we didn't pay taxes, if every black man just said, fuck it, I ain't paying taxes, that's gonna, some people gonna get laid off, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, we, you know, in a position of servitude, I think, you know, the ball is in our court too, like to get educated on what we should do, keep your hands on the wheel, don't make any sudden movements, stay calm, put the lights on, put the windows down, yes officer, no, but like y'all got, you know, it can't just be us, it gotta be y'all too, you know, so what are some things?
Can I say something?
Sure.
You go ahead.
I'm not good.
Alright, with all due respect, I really don't agree with the approach you said prior where you said, if you guys are not going to respect us, then don't call us when we're in a time of trouble. I get it with the position you guys are in. You guys are here to protect and serve. And I get it, it's very dangerous. A lot of police officers suffer from PTSD from things you guys see. But Laquan made a really good point. He said with great power comes a great responsibility. I feel like that attitude shouldn't be applied when it comes to like towards citizens. At the end of the day, we're all human. We all have different emotions, and I feel like when it comes to that authoritative figure that you guys have to uphold, that shouldn't be the attitude. Because at least that is reflected in a lot of police officers. There's a lot of police officers who are dismissive, and I feel like you guys are saying, listen, I agree, but I feel like there's something else that's missing, and just listening is not suffice at all. What about developing relationships within the community? Because as Laquan said, I feel like most of you guys have this mentality, and I'm not stigmatizing the entirety of the, you know, police people who are police officers, state troopers, whatever the case may be, law enforcement. I have that respect for you guys. That is a very difficult career, but I also feel as though there is a lack in compassion and consideration, empathy, and this and with these police officers and people who hold this authoritative figure, where, you know what I'm saying, like, we see a couple videos surfacing the, you know, internet. You see a police officer pick up basketball, hey, playing basketball with the kid, you know, but I feel like there needs to be a measure and some incentives to get a mutual understanding. I feel like the answers you guys are giving is a one-sided answer. It's not really a mutual beneficial answer. I feel like understanding and relationships should really be emphasized. All right, so what happens if you do just listen? People still get shot. Look at Sandra Bland. Well, actually, no, that's not a good point. Sandra Bland was aggressive. But there are innocent people who just listen, yet you have people who abuse their power and feel like, well, I'm a police officer, you need to listen to me. I had a bad day, I had a tough day on the job. I don't like your response, and I'm going to abuse my power. So I feel like when it comes to just listening, that's not sufficient. I feel like there should be things that should be incorporated in communities, and there has to be some sort of absolute morality and understanding for both parties. Because I get it, there's a lot of police officers who do feel like they have to protect their lives every day. Because with the, the patterns, and what Satira was saying, it's a pattern, you know. Laquan made a good point. When you some people get pulled off from by a cop, and they get afraid. I mean, how do you expect some people to think when they see these continuous videos? Yes, there are two sides of the story, but the prevalence, what's prominent on social media, this whole excessive force. I live in Roselle. I'm a Roselle citizen, been here all my life. There's been 200 reports of excessive force by police officers. For what? It's a small neighborhood. Why is that going on? 6.7% of these reports and arrests entail excessive force. And listen, I get it. You shouldn't charge an officer. You should have that respect. But that's why I said sometimes listening, because what if the person that's getting pulled over or arrested, or if they are listening, and what if you guys listening to them and they're being aggressive? That's why I personally disagree with that. I feel like there should be incentives and things that should be in the community that should be emphasized as beneficial for mutually.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say.
No, what I said earlier was you can't on a stop go at it with the cop, then next thing you know, you calling out when you help. You gotta have that mutual respect and always respect. That's what I said before. And with that excessive force, anything could be excessive force. So you gotta know that definition of excessive force. Like you can have somebody that's mentally challenged and he's going to EMS. Once you gotta hold them so EMS could, try to, help them out. That's excessive force. So you gotta know that everything is documented. So basically, I'm not doing they going to EMS. Sometimes people is mentally challenged. They could be walking up the street trying to say, "Look, let's go this way, and then they don't want to listen. But just you trying to help them out to go towards EMS. Once do a little grab, that's excessive force. That's why it's so many in Roselle. That's why it's documented. So
anytime we go,
anytime you go hands on, that's excessive force. You have to write it. You got to document that.
But it seems like I looked it up, but it seems like it's the same officers using excessive force.
Yes.
The reports are showing it's the same officers. So from 2012 to 2016, they did a report, and it said in New Jersey, 10% of all the officers are responsible for 38% of the violent encounters. So it's not they're not running into a lot of mental patients. They might essentially be the people
all that stuff is documented. Though. I don't know what report, because every time you do excessive force, is what happened that day and it's documented. So I don't know.
100%.
I don't know what happened that day for them to get that excessive force. So.
Yeah. I was just negating the fact that excessive force is very broad, but the stats are specific, and the people who are doing it like this, who are exhibiting excessive force. You know what I'm saying? What are we doing with those people? Earlier I asked, are we holding people accountable like a team? That's not cool, or whatever the case. I'm going to my captain. I don't want to work with him because he's not. I don't. In my heart, it's not sitting well on how he's handling people.
And that circles back to his first point was it's like blue lives, right? Like the blue wall, that team dynamic, and what I was mentioning earlier. Certain things reflect badly on the thing. So they, it's a tough situation. It's a tough situation for all of us, right? It's a tough situation for good cops to be on a force with bad cops. You feel me? That's doing those things because
But that's all superior. Superior overshadows all that. Mm-hmm. They look at, they're responsible for
And a lot of that stuff is being overlooked in Jersey. That's what they say. Everything is being overlooked.
It's not like, oh, he's my coworker, he don't know. Because at the day, I probably didn't work with him that day. But the superior watches everything, and everything that gets documented goes through superior. All the higher ups are responsible to look over all that.
But the majority of the higher ups are who? They look like us, correct? I'm assuming.
Well, it
You know what I'm saying?
I don't
you
know
think they can handle that? Do you think I think it's about being preventive, right?
What you mean handle it?
Handle it. That's a lot, right?
That's their job.
That's
You think? That's what.
Only to deal with.
That's what they get. All the
supervisors.
Yeah, everybody has. That's what bosses get paid for.
True.
So they obviously they met their criteria to be in that position. Obviously, the town voted for them. You don't just jump in a superior spot from a lot of things come into. So obviously, for you to move up, that means half these people must have voted for you.
Sure.
You had the credentials. It was like you beat the person you was in competition with. So for you to be in certain positions, just like the president,
you should be able.
Everybody voted for them.
But the president,
it doesn't matter. You voted, right? Everybody has a voice, right? You voted.
I have a question, just kind of a question, and just adding to the conversation based on what we're talking about right now. I think that I've done some research on this, and I think implicit bias plays a big part in how a lot of officers are interacting with civilians, and I think that needs to be a part of the discussion, because how are we educating people about their implicit bias? Because if you're not discussing that, and people aren't knowing, hey, I'm actually they literally don't know that these are the things that I'm portraying, and it's not until someone says, hey, this is what you're doing. Because you look at certain situations, for example, I used to read police reports all the time for my clients, and I could pick when I know when a cop is lying on the police report. I can pick out the holes, and I know. And then it's like you meet these officers, and I'm like, yo, this isn't a bad guy. But it's just like, I think that some of them are put in situations where they're trained to do things that aren't right. Like, it's plenty of times I've seen that cops lie on civilians to get them arrested. So it's like when you're put in these situations as a civilian, and then the next time you come across a cop, you already on defense mode. So how do we educate ourselves? Like, I know that you said you can't speak for other people, but it's like it gets to a point where how do we take responsibility for those who do let their implicit bias or whatever shine through their job? Because it's something has to be addressed. I understand it may not be you, but it's things deeper than just shooting somebody. It's literally other things at play here.
Yeah.
We have classes that we take. That's with our new chief. He makes it mandatory. We have certain classes that we are like implicit bias. We have to take that class. You don't know. You may say, well, say if you driving behind somebody, you may not like have the way women drive, so you pull every woman over that you see. You get what I'm saying? So you don't know until you say, yo, I pulled over 10 women today. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. Or somebody may look at you a certain way and you may pull them over. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know. But I think what we have in place is good. We have that structure where we say, listen, this is the amount of classes you need to take. Within this month, you gotta get it done. Okay. You get what I'm saying? We have that. Like, Like, you need to take these classes. Mm-hmm. Like, we got, like, I know for myself, I got 3 or 4 classes in June that I have to take. You understand? And when we take those classes, we have to come back with something. What did you learn? What did you get out of that class? You just didn't go and fall asleep, or you just didn't go and just not write anything down. What did you learn? And I think that's big everywhere. Everybody should do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every department should do that. And I think it's because you got to refresh yourself. You got some cops that have been working for 20 years, and it's just like, times change.
They forgot.
You got me like time. It's nothing personal, but times change. It's from policing way back then is way different now because you got so much technology. You get what I'm saying? So their mental capacity is like, whoa. They be in the middle of something like, whoa. I can't do that. You get what I'm saying? You got what I'm saying? I can't do that because their mentality is different. Like somebody like me and Pete, like we can go to a situation and address it, and like this is how we know that it should be done. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the era that we're living in. You get what I'm saying? Cops that been on 15, 20 years, they used to approach it a different way. You get what I'm saying? So now they got to reprogram their whole mind to doing it different, whether it was wrong or right. They got to reprogram their whole mind and say, this is the way it should be done. Yeah. So that's why I say classes are important.
Same way with teachers. Now my niece come home with homework. I don't know how to help my niece with homework. Like the way it's hard now to help my niece with homework because math is different. A simple 20 plus 23 now, just drop and add. Now they do some grouping on one side. I don't know how to help my niece with homework now, but this generation now is different. I don't know how to do it. And it's just
like I said, and with us being in that, we apologize for those other officers. Because it's our right. We uphold that oath. You get what I'm saying? We uphold that. And we apologize for other officers, but we can't think for them. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. We can't think for them. So the situations that they put themselves in, we look like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can that not be us? That's what I'm basically want to get to. How can that not be us? How can we fix this situation for it not to be our department? How can we fix the situation for it not to be one of our guys? You get what I'm saying? For us to not be put on that kind of spotlight. So that's the main thing. I think every department is different. Every department gotta figure it out from the higher up. They gotta figure it out because at the end of the day, like we understand that it's officers all over doing crazy stuff. At the end of the day, we our own person. We our own department, and so I can speak for my department. We're on the rise of doing better. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? We're on the rise of doing better, and it starts from the top. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? It starts from the top.
Who's it like? So how does the chain of command go?
It starts with the mayor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Starts with the mayor. The mayor's the boss. She runs the show. So whoever she's hired from to the chief on down, that's how it goes.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So like, the mayor put things in place, and our chief, blah blah blah. They do what they communicate. That's the communication. However, the way they wanted the things to go, that's what they're gonna do. And, I can honestly say that and I know some of you probably had bad experiences in our town, but I can promise you it's getting better.
Yeah.
I can promise
like
you
what
it's
he
getting better.
said. You got tensions. Where you winning down? Hit
Just
the lights
listen,
and just
man,
wait.
you
That's
know?
it.
Nobody that I'm gonna let you talk.
Yeah.
Nobody I never worked with, I never had that experience with. I never had that experience with. I can honestly say
had that
that.
experience.
So
My thing is, I could only speak on myself. Like, I've been in trouble, and I've been on both sides, I feel. Because, like, I'm going to be honest with you, it took a lot for me to understand the police officer. It took for my best friend to become a state trooper, for me to understand, certain things. But prior to that, I was just filled, like, with kind of, like, hatred towards, like, a police officer.
But now you understand.
Like, I would see a police officer, and I would, like, turn my head, because damn, this guy might recognize me or something like that. You get me?
Yeah.
Just because, like prior situations, and I never wanted to be in that position where I was in cuffs again. My thing is, like, when you're doing like a routine stop, right? How can I ask you, hey, listen, why are you pulling me over, without me feeling maybe lesser of even a human being, and feeling like less controlled by you? Because I don't feel comfortable asking an officer before I hand them my documents. I don't feel comfortable asking them, why am I getting pulled over? Because I'll get the same response. Where's your documents?
Because at the end of the day, the thing is, people need to identify yourself. Like,
I understand. 100%.
People have been in situations where, you were speeding. No, I wasn't speeding. Now it's a back and forth thing. 100%. I don't know who you are. You never gave me no document. Now you arguing with me. You don't want to give me your document.
100%.
But now when I got your document.
But prior to you having my documents, I want to know why you pulled me over.
And
I don't feel comfortable.
Well,
because I feel like if I do say that, you might get offended.
No, not at all.
No. I've been in a position where a police officer will get
not
offended.
personally.
Maybe not you.
But you understand, the thing is, when you get pulled over, you have to give your documents.
And that's conflict resolution too. Like, you're not gonna answer
I don't say it aggressive. And
yeah, but the thing is, when I pull you over, if you don't give me your documents,
like,
now
I said, now I don't have anything to hide. So I automatic. The cop comes over and I have all my stuff in an envelope.
Exactly.
You get me? Just because my boy told me, yo, do that. And just avoid that whole little conflict. Because it's like an ego thing. In my eyes, I feel like it's like an ego thing.
Yeah, but the thing
and
is,
I'm like a very, I'm outspoken. I'll talk to a cop like a regular person.
And you
can.
No, the thing is, you can, but the thing is,
before I would be afraid to have that conversation. Afraid to be like, hey officer, how's it going?
It's a comfortability thing though. So like, they ask you for your ID, they just want to know who you are.
We just want to know who you. That's it.
You kind of like that's disarming them a little bit. All right, so your name's Pedro.
Yeah.
All right, I see your address or whatever the case may be. I could run your name and things like that.
Even so.
But if you answer yo, why you speeding, like he was saying, so because I work with kids too, where it's like, yo, we was a conflict resolution based program. So like if they answer, if say they answer that question like, yo, you were speeding, and then you answer back, no, I wasn't. Now it's an issue, and then we didn't get to the point of me getting to know you.
It's crazy because I got pulled over. That's why I asked if you were a Roseville police officer, because I got pulled over. And the police officer... He was.
Yeah.
And I got pulled over in Roselle, and they pulled me on my car because I gave him... I have an envelope with my... I'm a commercial driver's license. I have a commercial driver's license and everything. And I have a license that I keep in my car and a license that I keep in my wallet.
Okay.
I gave him the envelope with all of my documents on it. And he was like, all right, I'll be right back. Like, I asked him as he was walking away, hey, officer, why are you pulling me over? He got an attitude with me, and he was like, hey, listen, I'm going to go check your stuff, and then we'll talk about why I pulled you over. Why can't I know why you pulled me over?
Well,
and to me, that happens so many times to me. And I don't...
I asked that too. I'm 100% on that one.
Because you trying to get that anxiety out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Why can't I know? Why you got to run sharing my information. I have priors. Like I got crazy priors. I don't know if you can see that.
And that's y'all aiding them being comfortable too. Like
yeah,
once you
like I got crazy priors. You're gonna
give
look
your
at me a
identity.
different way.
Exactly. So the solution is you give your identity, then the officer may tell you why.
You're gonna look at me a different way.
But I don't know
my history.
But the thing is, I don't know his approach on the stop.
So what's
Like,
the protocol? What's the protocol?
Not you.
So when you doing
my protocol is you're going to give me your document. It's not like debatable. We're not about to argue.
I know that. I'm saying like, what's the protocol? Like, how do they tell you to approach the situation? When you get your after you get the document,
training
then what?
entail?
Like, what's the training?
Once you identify the person, you talk to them. It's just a regular conversation. Like once you get somebody, because the thing is, you could have stole your sister's car and she got the reg right now saying my brother took my car. I got the reg with me. Let me get your look. Listen, I'll be like, let me get your license registration. You keep talking like, why you don't want to give me the registration?
It
So
seems
you probably
suspicious.
took
You probably took your sister's
what you're trying
car.
to say.
She don't want to call it stolen, but she probably said my brother took my car and I got the registration and he don't want to bring my car back. And some people be trying to, this and that. Just give me a document. And then now it's like, oh, I can't find red. Like, why you can't find like these paperwork?
I got pulled over in Roselle for speeding, and I was speeding, and I recognized that. I just asked the officer, like maybe he saw something else, And like I said, my best friend is a police officer. He's taught me how to approach these situations. He's taught me like certain things that I didn't even know, like the whole light thing.
Yeah.
Like I turned all my lights on. I put all my windows down,
No
everything. Like my hands are up here, and I got my
Keys on
envelope.
top of the.
Now, when you got
Yeah.
when he brought your documents back, what happened?
When he brought my documents back, he was like, "Oh, you live right there on St. George." I was like, "Yeah, I'm going home." He was like, "I was kind of late though." I'm like, "Okay."
To go
he was
home?
like, "Huh?"
To go home.
Yeah, to go home. And I was right here on First. I was like, "Yeah, I'm going home right there. I'm gonna just go up Drake and just go all the way up to St. George." And then I spoke to the cop, and then he told me why I got pulled over.
See, his approach is probably he just want to have his
like,
identity. He
and
probably
he was like, I'm gonna let you off with a warning, but here's a ticket for obstruction of view, something like that, right? So you don't get any points on your license. But I guarantee, like I 100% guarantee, if he didn't go back and run my license and stuff like that, and would have took my gold card that my boy gave me, he wouldn't have given me a ticket. I guarantee
You said
it.
you were speeding though, right?
Yeah, but I guarantee you, he would have gave me.
Lucky.
No, I guarantee
Yeah,
you,
what
he
you
would have.
saying.
I feel like he would have dropped that because he went back and like saw like, bro, I got.
So when you get your gold card, you're supposed to put the gold card under your license.
No, I gave him all that. He asked me. He asked me. He asked me. I don't know if he went about it
But
the
the
right
thing
way.
is, you never get a speeding ticket.
No, I know that. But like, why did it take all that for me to understand like why you were pulling me over?
But
Like,
obviously,
like it took for him to go see who I was.
and he came back and explained to you. He probably got a different approach.
But my thing is, why did it take for him to go be like?
That's how he
wanted to know who he was dealing with.
Yeah, that's why-
He wanted to know what he was dealing with.
But at the end of the day, that's
Because
why
like we talked about earlier, he said, "Yo,
You know what? Ask murder.
because what he said earlier, he made a good point. He's like, yo,
Okay.
I don't know who this person is, but I always have to be on alert."
And that's how you solve crimes too. I mean, and not to just, one side can't always be right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So like,
But I understand
that's how you solve murders or
100%.
mysteries or whatever. Yo, give me a docs. I don't really want to. Give me a docs. I'm gonna figure out who I'm dealing with. This person could be on a run. This person could
you
be.
deal with a lot of people like
Yeah,
that.
I know.
My,
So it's
my boy.
it's.
He,
I'm
it was on the
understanding.
news actually that on the turnpike,
Yeah.
there was some lady locked in the trunk, and my boy's a trooper, so he was like chasing this car that was speeding, like going crazy, and he didn't even know there was a person in the trunk. And he called me right after that, like, "Yo, this is the crazy thing that just happened." And then I later, like, through all that, through his experiences, I kind of learned how to understand you guys.
Yeah.
And now I understand why when
You
you
never
walk
know,
up to my when you walk up to my car, you're on the pillar. Like you're behind the pillar and I could barely see your face. I understand why you're behind the car's pillars. You're giving me like the door jams and stuff like that.
In a blind spot.
You're
And
blind.
yeah,
Everybody have their own
No.
techniques to be safe.
Yeah, I hear
Like,
you. But now I understand that. Before
Yeah.
I used to be like, "Yo, I can't see your face, bro." Like
Yeah.
you give me like. Now I understand that. So I feel like that's the important part. That you, for example, right now, what you're doing, you're like educating us. We're not a big group, but we could go and take what you taught us and go teach it to my little brother's friends. You get me?
Yeah.
I feel like
That's the whole point of this conversation.
That's like that's what I feel police officers should do. Come into the neighborhood. You're from Roselle?
Yeah.
come into Roselle, come into a school in regular clothes, and just talk to like a handful of
We
kids.
talked about that earlier.
Like
Yeah.
you could talk to
Yeah, I
5
just did.
kids. I don't know if you do it or don't.
I just did that last week at the community center.
That's what I'm saying. That's the steps that we gotta take. You say that it all comes from the top.
It should be
but it
mandated.
also comes from the bottom too.
Yeah.
It should be mandated though. I said earlier, like
Yeah,
it
like
should
the
be
other-
mandated.
like the other day.
Community
I see you
service
now,
should
and
be
I feel like we're
mandated.
equal.
Like you got to do something outside of work in the community.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the other
I
day,
see
I
you
went to go try to talk to kids the other day at the community center. Only 10 kids came out.
But no, but that's you though. I'm saying like it should be mandated.
Yeah, like
And then you'll find out who wants to be in this community and who don't.
Oh, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you like
You're not
your
gonna get
job.
to every kid.
You
I
know,
promise
your
you
job comes with a lot of different things. So you know.
You won't
Yeah.
get to every kid.
I know.
And you probably wouldn't have gotten to me when I was younger. But I'm saying, like, having those conversations, it's like, the more you put it in their face, the more they'll understand. Like, the more they'll understand why you take precautions.
Yeah.
You know, why you approach a situation a certain way. Not all cops are good people. You know, not all, civilians are good people.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
Like, there are really civilians that'll pull a gun out on a cop. I don't know why, but people will do that.
Yeah.
It's risky.
But it's like, the more you push it and you give it to these kids, like, hey, look, we're equals, bro. Like, you my mans.
I'm
You
just
get
trying to
me?
help your community.
Yeah,
Not
like,
equal. I wouldn't say equal.
We're both human.
We're both
human.
That's what he meant. We're
Yeah,
both human.
yeah.
I have a job to do, just like you gotta
Yeah.
teach, just like you
like,
gotta.
I take these
you know.
precautions and I talk to you a certain way because I have to protect myself as well as, like, the people around and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And, I mean, I understand.
And I like what you said too. Like we should start showing the other viewpoints as
Yeah.
well. As far as you guys are, the hostage situations you
Yeah.
guys are put into.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
then that'll kind of be like,
It
yo,
took-
and
That'll
that'll
more
make
empathy
empathy
with the
for the
civilians.
exactly.
It took for my boy to get shot at for me to understand why he does certain things, you know? And he was like, he graduated like exactly a year ago. And then he like got shipped to Jordan because he was also in the military. But he was only as a state trooper for a year and he was getting shot at, so stuff like that is like,
Yeah,
that
that's trauma.
changes
Yeah,
you.
it changes you. Like it puts
He
you on
never
edge.
even went through that when he got deployed. You get me? So
Yeah.
and he comes back home and does that.
Yeah.
So
But
it's like,
in conclusion, we talk like what we talked about today is just more so, ways we can solve the issues, and I came to the conclusion, and we all came to the conclusion like community service is very important. I think we definitely should start mandating that. Like departments should start mandating that because it's very important to build relationships. I think relationships solve a lot of the things and every issue we done talked about. Everything that we done talked about over the past 4 months. The relationship is important. The relationship between the officers in that community that they're serving is very important, and I think we need to move towards different ways and creative ways of creating those relationships. Whether it's going to basketball games, whether it's going to bake sales and handing out cookies and cakes, whether it's having food drives and having the officers partake in those food drives and handing out turkeys to the homeless, and Christmas, being Santa. Things like that. It's a lot of things that we can do that people just not, it's not that, it's simple things. But a lot of people are not putting the effort towards, on both sides though. You know what I'm saying? Like civilians could put more effort into how they view police, and trying to understand, just like the departments could put more emphasis on making sure the police get into those communities and get to know those people that's in those communities. Because a lot of the times these are young men that are coming up, young men and women that are coming up, that was in that community that situations are escalating in. But great conversation. I appreciate you for coming out, and I appreciate everybody for coming out. That's it.
so,